Hello and welcome to a Star Citizen monthly report going over what Cloud Imperium have been working on for Star Citizen's persistent universe over the last few weeks and what they're focused on now in July. Ship art and production. The ship art team have continued moving the two Crusader Ares variants, the Iron and Inferno, through the pipeline. They're aiming to move into the final art stages in the coming weeks for delivery in Q4. White box began for the Drake Vulture alongside a new variant of a popular ship to be announced later in the year. The Taurus got a polished pass ahead of its 3.14 debut. June saw the UK team complete the final art and lighting pass of a yet unannounced ship as well. They then moved on to the levels of detail processes for exterior damage setups for that ship. With the Aegis Redeemer's exterior completed for Invictus launch week, the team also moved on to the interior, completing out its grey box phase. Gold standard work also continued on the Sabre, Raven and Retaliator. The exterior lighting pass was done for the Sabre, while the Retaliator received reworked light and door controls throughout. They also revisited the Crusader Hercules to get the A2 variant ready for release, which involved adding a kitchen area for the crew and two large bomb bays in the cargo hold. The Montreal-based art team finished work on the remaining hospital locations, with the Space Clinic, so Grimhex's clinic, and Area 18's hospital now white box complete. On the design side, the team began using derelict pieces of spaceships to create puzzles, which will be populated with loot to encourage exploration and create pockets of new gameplay and interest around the Stanton system. They looked into defining building interior gameplay, creating a prototype layout and looking into adding proper missions to it. They're also defining how this layout will fit into the procedural location creation tools currently in development by the tools team. The landing zone and modular teams are looking at the colonialism outposts, and they're putting them through their final art phase before moving on to the second content set, which introduces more variation and additional themes. These are big steps towards player hams, very much looking forward to them. They're also close to completing the gas clouds that will surround jump points, including a second look for greater variety. Horizon is currently being closed out, with most focus on improving performance and fixing bugs. The lighting team's also focused on finishing out that landing zone, and it's looking pretty awesome. The feature team worked on actor status, adding different ways statuses could affect the player. For example, if a player's blood drug level, BDL, becomes too high, they will utilise a specific intoxicated locomotion set and experience various on-screen effects. This will also affect the player's control while on foot and piloting a vehicle by adding degrees of randomness. Expect this to be a bit like force reactions that you'd get and being knocked around sort of thing. These effects scale with the BDL and how many drugs and what drugs you have in your bloodstream, and there are several ways to increase it. For example, a player can visit a bar and overindulge in alcohol, or they can overuse injury medication in a short period of time. Another recent addition is the down state. Unless a player receives significant damage when hit by what is currently a kill shot, they will fall over, similar to getting knocked out. In this state, they're essentially unconscious and slowly dying, though teammates can resuscitate them if they arrive in time. They continued work on the Player Asset Manager, which is now named Knickknacks. With the baseline functionality implemented in May, the team began adding further features to the app, such as sorting and filtering, and have created a logo and brand for it. They're preparing Knickknacks for a Q3 2021 release. They also further developed the Ninetales Lockdown with QA testing and balancing for that dynamic event before its 3.14 release. The cargo refactor has been expanded as well to include resource container work, while the designs for persistent hangars and a selling refactor also began, with larger discussions set to happen some point in July. In the UK, the team focused on features for 3.15 and 3.16, including loot generation. The team is now ensuring all setups are in place so that the boxes with loot are distributed with randomized valuable items. I'm hoping that in the future it'll be much more not as random. I want loot to sort of make sense in the area, but I suppose randomization of that a bit is sensible. They also began developing atmospheric depth damage for gas giants like Crusader. Once complete, the pressure within gas giants will damage player ships if they attempt to reach the core. Ship-to-ship refueling began its production phase with a significant collaboration between gameplay feature, UI, and vehicle teams. VFX continued their process of fleshing out the destruction pipeline, focusing on a Theatres of War map containing a huge explosion sequence. UIs were developed for medical gameplay, and they also further developed the core tech for the new star map and connected it to the radar system. UI are currently focusing on back-end code that connects AR markers, the star map, interior map, and radar system all together. In-game functionality will come next, followed by more UI work in the future. Vehicle features worked on a mixture of supporting Alpha 3.14 with the new power systems and rebalance of ship combat. They're also ramping up development on jump points there as well. They also supported the VFX in developing a new thruster dust effect that they mentioned in May's report. They also made improvements to the docking feature that didn't manage to make it into 3.13, such as allowing players to refuel, repair, and restock vehicles at docked stations. A key feature of Alpha 3.14 is the new HUD technology, which is a brand new way of creating HUDs that allows for much more in-depth complexity than there was before. Recently, work involving ironing out issues and filling gaps to ensure that the HUD covers the many cases that exist across different ships was completed. When possible, the team moved to build out jump points. Although this feature hasn't had significant development time recently, progress is increasing rapidly as focus switches and more devs begin working on it. The weapons team continued with the mining gadget, taking the asset through to Lot 0 complete and updating the rigging before passing it to animation. 3 subscriber weapon paints were finished and ready for release alongside a new knife for a future PU release. The animation passes for both the standalone Greycat tractor beam and the standalone salvage tool began. Other focus in July was on 2 new size 7 bearing ship weapons. Obviously, these are both for the Ares, Ion, and Inferno. So there's the ballistic one and an energy one. Characters and armor. So they've been working on 3 sets of armor that will also be getting various sort of variations for events that are coming over the next few months. They completed a pass on characters for Horizon's release. Animation created a rough space whale loop for AI to test. So that actually sounds like they're trying to get some form of space whale animal in for Crusader in the not too distant future, although admittedly it could be quite far out there if they're just doing tests. The tech team supported Alpha 3.15 alongside the active feature and design teams, which involved setting up a system for players to equip and unequip backpacks. They'll be adding new backpacks to the Persistent Universe in support of the feature as well, and they also worked on holographic props for all of their assets for the physical inventory UIs. Concept artists spent time working on event-themed items, creating additional concepts for the Pyro system, and explored possible gameplay interactions with the Space Whale creature. Engine and back-end stuff, so systemic services and tools geared up for the next iteration of the economy and AI simulation, which has improved fidelity, buzzword, and interaction with the game itself, and is easier to manage via the new integrated tool systems. The game services team continued to focus on server meshing, alongside working on service improvements. June also saw the completion of the new multi-user private lobbies for Spectrum. This is the first step in connecting Spectrum groups to in-game chat lobbies, and it looks like that's going to also then lead to more organisation, gameplay, and features. That's obviously steps towards that. Major improvements were made to the physics code of the game. Netcode has seen further optimization, and work continued on the transition to the Gen 12 renderer and Vulkan. Both the graphics and VFX programming teams made great progress on that Gen 12 renderer and Vulkan backend stuff, with the vast majority of post effects now running Gen 12 by default, which is good. Graphics have now added the window shader as a way of faking interior of buildings. That's a much lower resource cost, but you can still have the look of buildings having things in them at long distance or at different angles, and it's better than having like an empty or blank space, but it's not going to break the bank when it comes to your sort of CPU and GPU resources. There's also the Ping CIG shader, Ping CIG shader, a new version of the ping effect that will be used for the upcoming improvements to the radar and scanning feature. It creates waves that trigger various visual effects that then intersect solid geometry, such as an edge highlight. Boom! That's it for the monthly report for the Persistent Universe and Star Citizen this time. We will have a breakdown of the AI updates and Squadron 42's report in an upcoming video on the channel soon. But what do you think? Are you excited for what's coming in Alpha 3.14 and later this year in 3.15, the Q3 patch? What do you think the unannounced ships they are working on are? I think it's pretty obvious that one is the mobile refinery ship that Cloud Imperium have talked about recently, or at least talked about mechanics for recently, and talked about during CitizenCon 2019. Were you hoping to hear more about server meshing? Were you hoping to hear more about the Gen 12 renderer and stuff? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Hey, I heard you like VPNs. How about NordVPN then? It's got things like security and features, and we all know chicks dig VPNs. Oh my god, is that Nord? Well, yes. Yes, it is. Wink. Check out the links below to get discounts, or go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. Maybe it will align your chakras or something. Actually, let's read some testimonials. Ever since I got NordVPN, my life is good. I wish I'd got NordVPN sooner. I didn't get NordVPN and now I've got no hands. I'm sorry that I recorded this as an ad-sin. I apologise to my editor. I said I wouldn't go too wacky. That's not what's happened here. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and for July it's for a Constellation Taurus with lifetime insurance and a Star Citizen game package. All you need to play! This long overdue, more cargo-focused version of the Constellation is going to be flyable in July. It's basically a new ship. Woo! Sort of. To be in for a chance of winning that, comment on any of my videos made during July, and each video gives you another chance to win, but only one comment is counted per video. More details down below. Please also consider supporting the channel further via the YouTube join button, or via Patreon, or donation, or whatever. It all helps us make Star Citizen content. Great Star Citizen content, hopefully, or at least some Star Citizen content. Also, you should bother the bell and like and subscribe and all that sort of jazz as well. Thanks for watching.